Good evening, my dear friends. I welcome you all to the Hindu and the Businessline editorial analysis on August 24, 2022. The first article I am going to take up from the Businessline. The article is titled Discom Discipline. I will tell you a story. In July 2012, at around 3 a.m. in the morning, the national power grid, that is coming and supplying power to the capital of Delhi and the northern states, stopped operation, and the power outage affected most of the metro stations and the electricity supply utilities all over North India. The then Power Grid Corporation of India Limited was in charge of the whole power operations starting from generation to the the revenue collection, that is the revenue collection operations, generation operations, and the power monitoring, the power grid monitoring operations. All these operations were handled by the National Power Grid Corporation of India Limited. The balancing, that is, the balancing of the power was achieved only till next day 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and most of the power was restored. So this shows the fault lines in the power grid management in the pan India level. Earlier, Power Grid Corporation of India Limited was handling all sorts of operations, that the grid management and the frequency management, the safety of the power distribution, and even the commercial arm, that is the collection of the revenues from the discoms, that is distribution companies. There are generating companies. Several operators are playing in the electricity power generation and distribution. There are generation companies, that is generation companies are one at one level. Then there are distribution companies. The generation companies offer power to the distribute provide power after generation to the distribution companies, who distribute the power to the customers or consumers, the electricity consumers. Also, there is there was a Power Grid Corporation of India Limited which managed the grid, that is the manage the frequency control. There is something called automated generation control. Automated generation control. What is this? When the power is generated and distributed, what happens is that there is the aberration, that is the disturbances in the frequency level, because the demand, when the power generation is less than the power demand, the frequency fluctuates. So there has to be someone who is watching or monitoring over this automated generation control and inform the distribution companies, so that the grid will be managed according to the frequency. So this frequency management is a very big task. Earlier, Power Grid Corporation of India Limited used to handle all these things. There is a national grid and 5 regional grids, regional load distribution centers, 5 regional load distribution centers and one national load distribution center. The National Load Distribution Center manages the inter transmission of power between states, and five regional load distribution centers are located in each regions. That is, eastern region one is there at Kolkata, northern region one is there at New Delhi, western region there is one at Mumbai, southern region there is one at Chennai, and northeastern region. These are five regional load distribution centers. These five regional load distribution centers control this automated generation control. That is, the frequency is being managed. So, in 2017, after the 2012 July blackout in the northern India, it was decided that there should be a separate corporation, that is separate company, to look into these affairs, that is monitoring the frequency automated generation control, that is monitoring the frequency faults in the power distribution. Therefore, in 2017, a separate company was formed by taking a portion out of the Power Grid Corporation of India Limited. That was the separate arm, that is separate company which was formed, is named as Power Operation Control Company, that is Power Operation Systems Control Company, that is POSOCO for short, Power Operation Systems Control. This Power Operation Systems Control means controlling the automated generation control, that is AG system, AGS, automated generation systems. So, this Power Operation Control Company was in charge of the monitoring the power distribution, that is the power generation and distribution, and grid control and coordination. The National Load Distribution Center and five regional load distribution centers came under this this Power Operation Control Corporation. Then there is another player also in the electricity distribution and generation, that is exchanges, power exchanges. What are these power exchanges? If you are not getting the power according to the demand from the national power grid, national load balance, the load distribution center, the national load distribution center, or the regional load balance centers, you can purchase this from the external exchanges. So, most of the states are trading with the exchanges, power exchanges, in this manner. What was happening was that there are lots of dues by the distribution companies. The distribution companies had a huge dues worth 1.2 trillion, that is 1.2 lakhs crores rupees, and these dues had to be settled. When the distribution companies were asked to settle the dues like this, what they did was they bypassed the Power Operation Control Company, the grid distribution, the power distribution and the grid management of the Power Operation Control Company, and bypassing this, they started buying from the power exchanges, that is spot exchanges. Now, the Power Operation Control Company under the Ministry of Power decided to allow 48 installments for payment of the dues by the distribution companies. However, further default occurred and late payment surcharges were asked to be deposited. Due to the Electricity Amendment Bill 2022 recently, these 48 installments were provided to distribution companies. Now, what happened that 12 states and one union territory, the states included Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Telangana, among and Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka. Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra accounted for most dues, that is more than 57% of the dues to the power generation companies. So, what happened is that due to the default by the distribution companies by these states, these 12 states and one union territory, among which Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu and Telangana ranks in the top, they were prevented or barred from accessing the spot market, as I said, that is power exchanges. This is the discussion of today's editorial, that is DISCOM discipline. The editorial is saying that the discipline has to be brought in the DISCOMs. That is, already 3 lakhs crores package has been announced for grid infrastructure management and repairs and building up. Also, the AT&C losses, that is the transmission and commercial losses, that is sometimes what happens out of the power leakages or generation defaults, technical defaults or power thefts, some losses occur, and the revenue collection losses all come within these AT&C losses. 20% of the dues by the DISCOM companies are from this AT&C losses. So this AT&C losses, the Power Ministry had announced some packages to manage this AT&C losses. However, the lots of discipline, the professional management is absent. In spite of this discipline, which Power Ministry had announced, the discipline in the DISCOM companies is lacking because of lack of professional management in this DISCOM companies. So, if the revival of the power distribution companies has to be thought of, the disciplining of the DISCOM companies have to be there. Sometimes what happens is that the distribution companies, that is the regulator in the states, rubber stamp some of the subsidies announced by the state governments. So these huge subsidies, when are promoted and authorized by the distribution companies, that is state regulators, what happens is that these huge subsidies are becoming a burden to the distribution companies. So this has to be done away with, and then the differentiation of peak hours and the non-peak hours in the day and charging electricity on this basis has to be done. These are some of the disciplinary steps, that is disciplining steps, which is being announced, which is being discussed by the Businessline. Then there is the case of in Hindu, there is an editorial titled Sporting Trouble. The apex court of the country, the Supreme Court of India, has finally terminated the committee of administrators in the Football Federation, All India Football Federation. Why this has been done? In order to comply with the central government's recommendations, central government's appeal that the under 17 World Cup for women, which is going to take place in October, FIFA, that is World Football Body, had announced banned the or disqualified the All India Football Federation from international sporting events. The Gokulam FC, which was going to compete in the international football competition in Dubai, could not compete in the in Uzbekistan, could not compete in the match. So this is going on happening even in Olympics Association, Indian Olympics Association. The Delhi High Court has set the certain regulations and committee to look into the matters of the Indian Olympics Association. So what happens is that this committee of administrators changed the constitution of the All India Football Federation, and the political, that is electoral body, the only the nominated politicians should be the members, and the sports persons should be appointed into the executive committee. This change in the constitution has been made. However, there is some troubles with regard to the, there is some controversies with regard to the, or discord with regard to the tenure of the committee members, which has to be sorted out later. We think that it would not be a problem, that these tenure issues will not affect the under 17 World Cup for women, which is going to take place in October 2022. Therefore, the right interference by the Supreme Court in this matter is well appreciated by limiting the tenure, that is suspending the tenure of committee of administrators and making way for the sport to win. So this sporting trouble, which is the editorial of the article, editorial, is right in its perspective. Now the sporting trouble will be well removed, because now the Supreme Court has stepped in and taken a correct stand. Friends, I hope my discussion with regard to that both the articles were very much helpful to you. We'll meet you tomorrow with some more articles like this and discussion like this. Till then, take care. Bye.